Hello, this is Your Voice Dorset podcast. I'm Marilyn Barber, and I'm delighted to welcome Polly Morris into the studio.
Hello.
Lovely to see you, Polly.
Oh, it's really lovely to be here.
How would you describe yourself?
Oh, my goodness. How would I describe myself? Well, I'm a mother of three, and I'm a singer-songwriter, and I love to perform songs, and I love to play the guitar and the piano and any other instrument I can get my hand on.
And when did you start? When did you realise that you had this talent?
Oh, I don't know whether it's a talent or just a passion, but I used to write songs when I was tiny. I mean, they weren't very good. You spend your lifetime just trying to get better at your craft, I suppose. So I've been getting better and better at songwriting.
So where did it come from, though? I mean, were you influenced by any pop songs of the day or whatever? I mean, how young are we talking about?
Well, I suppose I should go back to my father used to play the piano, and he would come back from work and he would sit at the piano and he would play all kinds of lovely songs, mostly from the 1920s and 30s, like Irving Berlin or Gershwin. And he would sit us beside him. We had a very long piano stool. Sometimes he'd get all three of us on this piano stool with him, and we'd be plonking away at the piano.
Yes.
With him. So I suppose I started enjoying music at an early age, and I'm so grateful to my dad for showing me what fun music can be, because he just had a great time with it. He used to get people around and having big parties and playing the piano and singing. So that's
it's very much a musical upbringing, really, wasn't it?
It was.
So at what age did you think, oh, perhaps I might write a song?
I used to attempt to write songs from a very, very tiny. I think my first song was when I was about 2. I wrote this. I didn't write this song.
No.
I made up a song that I would sing again and again and again. And the family used to get quite irritated with it, and they'd say, "Oh, Polly's singing her song again." And I don't know. Maybe it gave me a feeling of identity. But it certainly was my
but at that
song.
age, I mean, you haven't learned to speak for very long. So
No, it didn't make much sense, the song.
And what about the actual tune? I mean, where did that come from?
I think I stole that from the record that was in a house called Growing Up with Wally Whiten. Yes, I think I plagiarised the tune quite a bit, to be honest. But then you try and get better at it. You learn a bit of an instrument. You try and sing a few songs. And I just found it a really lovely way of losing myself.
And did your parents want you to have lessons?
Not particularly, because they were quite expensive. I think I begged and begged and begged and finally got piano lessons when I was about 7 or 8, I think. But then I also tried a little bit of violin, a little bit of trombone, and my brother would teach me how to play the guitar because, well, he was the kind of person who could pick up any instrument and play it.
Yes, because I understand that I know you play the piano and the guitar, but you say you can pick up another instrument. I mean, how do you know how to do it?
Well, I can't really, Marilyn. I'm sort of lying there, really. I love instruments, and I often buy instruments thinking, how hard can it be? Yeah. And then I have a go. So there are quite a few instruments I can maybe do one tune on.
So just by playing around.
Just by playing around.
I mean, what do you think is the hardest instrument to play?
Oh, goodness me.
Have you tried trumpet?
I have tried trumpet. You have to be quite good with your lips. I think all instruments need practice. Every single one to be good, you have to really put some time in. So I would say possibly those ones which need several notes at once. I'd say the piano probably needs more time than, say, the recorder. But still, they all need time.
So did you shine at school as far as music was concerned?
I used to be in all the choirs, which I used to love. And we had a really fabulous and inspirational music teacher called Laura Sanson. And she was just larger than life and just had a massive passion for music and used to encourage us to enter singing competitions and all kinds of stuff. So yes, she was a tremendous inspiration to me.
And did you enter singing competition on your own or solo?
No, well, this was all with the choirs.
Right.
So the one I remember is the Sainsbury's Choir of the Year competition that we would enter. And it was great fun.
Yes, and you must have had ambitions for a musical career or the stage?
Well, I did. I wanted to be on the stage. I would love to have been on the stage because the amateur drama scene where I grew up was a very vibrant one, and it was great fun.
And you were a member of the Nam Jam group,
I
were you?
was. So we used to do lots and lots of plays. But whenever I mentioned to my parents about being, doing it professionally, taking it further, they didn't really approve.
Don't put your daughter on the stage.
No, exactly.
It's a difficult profession, isn't it?
I believe
There's a lot
so.
of people out of work. So
yes.
So when you left school, what was the ambition?
Well, I ended up becoming an engineer. I studied engineering for 3 years, and then I went into risk assessment, which was part of the shipbuilding industry.
Did that include cruise ships?
Yes. Yeah.
But you haven't been a cruise ship entertainer?
No, I haven't. I was always sort of in the depths of the engine room or on the bridge.
And were you still playing?
Oh yes, I used to play. I used to perform back at home, but most of my work was in the office in Southampton, so I didn't get out to sea very much.
Yes.
It was always really exciting when I did. But yes, music has always been in the background, and always writing songs about maybe the people I worked with, writing songs about things that happened. And that happened more and more as I got older.
So you're inspired by things that go very wrong, because I know quite a few of your songs.
Maybe that's just my life, Marilyn. Maybe other people are inspired by the things that go right because they have much more successful lives. Yes. I think as a singer-songwriter, you write about what you experience. You write about what has moved you or what's made you laugh. And it's really lovely to kind of package this up in a neat little 3.5 minute song.
So have you got the words first and then the music?
Well, that's a really interesting question, because the process seems to be different for each type of song. If I am asked to write a song, for instance, about a person, then I'll start with the lyrics, because you've got to start with what they're like, and maybe you might get a little phrase that is something that really describes them well, which you can come back to again and again.
I'm starting to feel nervous now.
No, but it's great fun to do. But then you have to find a tune that fits around the person and those words. Whereas if it's more of an emotional song, sometimes the tune comes first, and sometimes they both come together. And in really, really special times, it's like, as my friend Paul Openshaw said, it's like plucking a fruit. It's like the song is there and you just pick it, and it's already done. And it's all in your head finished. And that, I think, only happens because you've written so many other songs and spent weeks over them. So you kind of, your brain is in that zone.
You haven't done the Paul McCartney bit, waking up in the morning, and because he woke up apparently and knew the words and tune for yesterday. You haven't woken up and thought, I've got it now.
Well, you know what? I did have that experience. I had a dream. Where I was singing this song, and it was going really, really well. The crowd were loving it. I was playing the guitar, and I could see in my dream what the chords were in my guitar. So I woke up, and the second I woke up, I got my phone and I recorded this song onto my phone. And then I went back to sleep. And listening to it later, I have to say, Marilyn, it was quite disappointing. It wasn't the kind of song that would generate that kind of
it
euphoria.
Wasn't going to be a number one.
It was a very, very common chord structure and a rather dull refrain, if I say so myself. But yes, I have done that, but it just wasn't a very good song.
Do you remember the first time you performed in public on your own?
Yes, I do. That was in my little village. Well, the very first time I performed in public was at nursery school, because I was given the wonderful role of the angel in the Nativity, and I got to sing a solo then, and I must have been about 3.
That's really young to be able to sing in tune.
Well, who knows whether I was in tune. Luckily, there are no recordings left. So all we've got is a picture of me looking a little bit odd, because my eyes are half closed. But my parents said it was wonderful. So
I mean, that's very young. But as an adult, when you first went out with your guitar,
when I first went out with my songs, It wasn't with the guitar, it was with the piano.
Was it?
And it was in our village hall in Woldingham. I must have been in my late teens. And I sang a few songs to a big hall of people in an event.
And were you nervous?
I was terribly nervous, and it went really well, and it was just so wonderful. I sort of glided out
and you
of
thought,
there.
this is what I want to do.
I think I did, yes. I mean, it did help that these were all my friends and family, so they were terribly supportive. One of the things about being a songwriter who performs a lot is that those friends and family come to the first one and they're really supportive. But once you've got sort of several and you keep asking the same people.
Yes, they don't want to keep coming because they don't want to keep coming and hear the same songs.
Exactly.
So when you were working as an engineer, were you still singing in public then?
Just occasionally, yes. I mean, obviously I was working full time, so I didn't have as much time.
And were you still
do that.
writing songs?
I was, yes.
Is it something you need to do? It's within you and you've got to put these words out there.
I think it is. I feel that my happy place is just being there with a guitar, with a blank sheet of paper and with a few ideas and having the time to put some ideas down and create something. It's being that creative. I'm sure that all creative people out there know that there's that feeling that you've got to paint or write or sing or do something.
You must have been influenced by some performers. Victoria Wood?
I was. I absolutely adored Victoria Wood and was mortified when she died. We used to learn all her sketches and recite them to each other. I mean, she was so funny.
Yes.
But we also had a lot of records of Flanders and Swan, because my father used to love them, and they were sort of big in the sort of 50s.
Yes.
And they used to write comedy songs, and I loved those. Jake Thackeray was another one that I absolutely loved. So there's been some fantastic comedy songwriters.
Yes, so comedy is very, very important with your singing. I mean, you do sing serious songs, obviously, as well, but
it is important. I think my aim is always to that people leave feeling better than when they arrived. Yes. So that feeling of it's my job to make them feel better, to make any stresses that were in that day go away for a brief moment so that they can just enjoy being.
That's a wonderful premise, really, isn't it? Have you got a favourite song that you wrote?
I think I always like the most recent song.
And what's the most recent one?
Well, the most recent song that I've written is called The Last Bus Home. And it was written after we were trying to get the bus back after watching some fantastic fireworks at New Year's Eve.
Yes.
And it was freezing cold and there was a big group of us and we were all running to get this bus. And there was a wonderful feeling of camaraderie. And sometimes when you're all aiming for something and you've got nothing to lose, that was the feeling that I was trying to put into this song. And I'm hoping that I got that.
Now, you've made some albums, haven't you?
I have, yes. I've been recording songs for quite some time. Started off recording my albums with the wonderful Matt Black, who everybody will know as
Indeed.
the Piano Man.
One of our podcasts.
Yeah. And then my last two albums have been in Southbourne with a man called John Sweet, who is terrific. And I've been really enjoying working with him.
And they're all original songs on these.
They're all original songs, yes.
Gosh, that takes some doing, really, to have had 7 albums with all original songs on them.
Well, yes, that's 7, 8. This is my 8th, I think. Yes. But it's, yes, it is. The 8th one's just coming out. And it is, I suppose, that my problem is because I've written quite a lot of songs, it's choosing the songs to go on the albums because you can't do them all. And some of them are quite visually funny, but wouldn't necessarily come out so well on an album. So yes, it's choosing the right songs for the album.
And do you ever forget the lines?
I often forget the lines. I always have to go through my songs beforehand.
Yes.
Because I've written quite a lot of songs.
How many, any idea?
Well, I counted the other, in November, and it was something like 220.
That's a lot.
Which is, it's fine, but it does mean that you need to revise them before you sing them. And sometimes people will say, oh, can you sing the song about your mobile phone? And I'm thinking, gosh, I last sang that 8 years ago, can't quite remember, and I often have to
I think the audience like it because they can relate to things that go terribly wrong in life. Really.
Exactly. I think it's always comforting, isn't it? When you know that somebody else has been through the irritating thing that you've just been through.
They're not alone.
Yeah.
So when did you, because you've got the Polly Morris Band, when did you decide it would be good to perform with others?
Oh, I love performing with others. It's just the best feeling when you've got a group of people who are all performing the same song and everything's working together. It doesn't always happen that way, but when it does, it's a magical feeling.
Because it's flexible. You have different people who come into the band sometimes, don't you?
Yes. Well, when I'm performing on my own, it's a slightly different product, if you like, to when I'm performing with the band.
You're in control.
I'm in control. When I'm with the band, I am not in control.
I think you're talking about Brian Harris here, but there we are.
Yeah, everybody has their own ways of doing things, and it makes it great fun, but it does make it a little bit on the edge of your seat for me.
Yes, because you don't know if they're all going to go along singing from the same hymn sheet, as it were.
Exactly. And I suppose there's quite a lot of improvisation that goes on. And that's what makes it fun as well. So I love performing with other people. Also, what's so lovely is being able to talk about the event afterwards. When you're performing on your own, it can be a little lonely, actually, because you do something and you're not too sure how it went down, and you're driving home thinking, oh, was it okay? Did they enjoy it? And there's no one to talk it through with. So being in a group is really lovely.
How did you manage during the pandemic? Because there was no chance of you performing.
No, that's true. But during the pandemic, there was, I chatted to a lovely friend of mine who's a radio presenter called Brian Player, and he had learned how to use this thing called StreamYard, which is where you can do concerts with your phone or with your computer.
Yes.
So he gave me a couple of tutorials over Zoom and over StreamYard, in fact. And then I was able to do some concerts from my living room, which, was terribly nerve-wracking because there's so many things that can go wrong. And when you're performing, there are enough things to go wrong, quite frankly. You're
on your own at home, you're in control of everything. So
that's right. So I did have one concert where there were lots of comments going up, but when you're performing and you're the only one there, you're the only one, you can only read the comments afterwards. And one of them was, "It's all very nice, Polly, but you're sideways on." You only read that at the end of the concert. So it was terribly nerve-wracking and quite stressful. Maybe I'll do it again someday, but maybe with other people helping me.
Yes. So when we didn't actually come out of the pandemic in the first year, in 2021, wasn't it?
Yes.
So then, is that when you started at the Allendale Folk Night?
Actually, I think the folk night started in 2020 at the times when we were allowed to be outside. Yeah. I don't know if you remember, because it was freezing. It was absolutely freezing. And people would sit there and we'd all play, and gradually our fingers would just freeze up because
people were desperate for live music, weren't they?
And some camaraderie, even if we had to sit away from each other, just to know that we were all in the same boat. It was really lovely to get.
And you're there every Friday, virtually, aren't you?
Now I am. So yes, this is called Friday Cafe Live at the Allendale Centre, and I compare it and often perform in it as well.
Yes. So if somebody doesn't turn up,
it's my job.
It's your job.
Although we do have some other lovely people who are willing to step in.
Yeah.
I joked about it being the fourth emergency service, where we can ring somebody up and say, "Grab your guitar, quick, come this way, it's an emergency."
Ambitions. Do you have any that are unfulfilled?
I have so many unfulfilled ambitions. I think I'll just carry on having unfulfilled ambitions until I die. I think it's really important to keep planning for things and keep hoping for things. So I have my album coming out. I'm hoping that this one...
And how will you promote that?
Well, this time I actually have somebody who's going to be helping me promote it. I've never done that before. I've never actually asked for help promoting things, but I'm not very good at marketing.
You use social media, I'm guessing.
Well, yes, social media is really the way forward, but also to play in in small events like. I'm trying to think where there are ones where you play a couple of songs and then tell people what you're doing. That's a good way of marketing, but you need time to do that. So yes, trying to get round and market my album. And then I've got quite a few gigs where I'm going to be, I say touring with it, but none of
You do travel out of Dorset, don't you? You do travel around.
I do. I think I always felt that a tour is one of those ones that's beautifully planned so that you go from one place to another without going home. But my gigs sort of never quite seem to link up in that beautiful way.
You wouldn't do a couple of gigs in one night, would you?
Not in one night. I've done a few in one day.
Yes.
I
was thinking of a couple of songs in one gig and a couple in another.
I have never done that, but if I'm able to one day organise that, that will be a moment of pride.
It sounds so. You're not unhappy about challenges at all.
No, I love it. I love performing, and I love being able to get out there, and I love meeting new people, and it's it gives me a huge amount of energy.
How do you get the work, though? I mean,
well, you have to sit down and write to people and try and convince them that you're good enough to play at their venue, which is, a challenge in itself, because there are a lot of very, very talented artists around the country. And in some ways, we talked a little bit about lockdown. That almost generated a lot of singer-songwriters who were at home just learning an instrument or learning songs.
Yes, I can imagine that, because they wanted to be creative and they had no audience, or they had to create an audience. That's right.
So we've got a new wave of really fabulous singer-songwriters coming out now.
Have you had any ambitions to get on television?
Yes.
I mean, there are talent shows.
Well, I once had 4 seconds on Britain's Got Talent.
Did you?
Well, yes, I'm just talking to a man in a hat in the waiting room. It didn't go that well, really. But that was years ago. I think it was one of the very early ones. But yes, I mean, it would be great fun, because it's a wonderful way of getting your music to people who might enjoy it. But who knows? I'll just keep my fingers crossed. I think it's very difficult to do.
Yes. And they tend to go for rather quirky things these days, don't they?
They
do. So in today's music scene, who do you like? Do you follow pop music or?
Well, yes. I mean, I really enjoy some of the singer-songwriters that are coming out, as I mentioned. Noah Khan is one of the ones I really like. Let me try and think of any names. I mean, I've got a very, very eclectic mix of music that I like, but a lot of the music I like is local acts. So we've got some fantastic people who come to the cafe and perform, who come to Wimborne and perform, and it's really there are a lot of fantastic hidden talents out there. So just get out to pubs and clubs and go and find them. They're really good.
I've just got one more question to ask you. What does Dorset mean to you?
Oh, well, Dorset has been the place where I've made so many wonderful friends and had so many wonderful opportunities. So Dorset, it's full of really lovely people, and it's a beautiful place to be as well. So where else would you want to be?
Thank you very much, Polly Morris.